Hi, my name is Karen. I'm the Art Therapist at Challenge, and today, as part of the parent workshop, I wanted to show you something that is really fun and really satisfying to do. Doesn't require a lot of energy, and it's probably some art materials that you have at home, which is really great. So we're going to be using paint, and we're going to be making I don't know what to call it, but it's really just an abstract sort of painting. And if you don't have paint, you can just steal your kids' paint. I'm sure they won't mind or they won't notice. What I love about working with paint is that it's a really visceral and evocative kind of medium in art making that is very fluid. And when we think about different art materials, the more fluid the art material, the more likely it will evoke an emotional response or reaction. If you think about it, when we're drawing, it's something that can be very separate from us. So we're holding a pencil and we're kind of problem solving on the page of where you'll put your pencil, what kind of marks you're going to make. But when you're using a very fluid medium, it can get out of control a little bit quicker. It can kind of move really rapidly and blend and change. And so there's not a lot of time to think when you're doing this. It's kind of unfolding and happening right in front of you. So there's two things about that. One, it can be a little bit overwhelming because it could kind of feel like it's getting out of hand. But the other part about this is that it can be really satisfying to kind of be drawn right into the moment of what you're doing and see what's happening that's unfolding on the page in front of you. So this is definitely something that you could do with your kids as well, but try it out for yourself, because if you're trying to put aside a little bit of space for yourself in a day, just doing this for 5 minutes can be really nice and mindful, can kind of ground you into the moment as well. So let me show you what you need. I just, have so much kids' paint lying around, so that's what I use. You don't have to go out and spend a lot of money on paint. These ones are fine. And the reason it's also good to use this paint is because you won't feel bad about using a lot of it. And what we're going to do is actually squirt out quite a bit of it. So you won't feel like guilty about using a lot of the expensive paint. And we just have a brush that we're going to use as well. I like to work on something big. This is A3, which is double A4, but whatever you have at home is fine. So we just want to splotch the colours all around the paper, and be generous with your splotches as well. So now that we have a page full of colour, grab your brush and we're going to kind of make like sort of snake-like movements around the page. So that is my first one, and you can really smell the paint, and you can really see those vivid colours coming out. So it creates this really interesting, intricate pattern, and it's something that is quite quick, but really effective. Sometimes it is difficult to know when to stop, because you can keep going and really change it into something completely different. All right, I'm going to try another one. There we go. So you can see how I really filled that page and filled the whole outside of the page as well. So now what I'm going to do is show you something else that you can do with this, and it will mean destroying this one, but you know, I don't get too attached to these because I think of them more as in the process kind of paintings rather than to keep forever. So it's nice to have that mentality sometimes, because then you don't worry about wrecking it or destroying it. It's more about getting that enjoyment out of it in the moment and not overthinking it. So just try to use something that's a little bit bendy. You can use a credit card if you can clean it properly afterwards. You can use a ruler. You could use kind of like a thick piece of cardboard. And what we're going to do is go over it again, and because it's still wet, we're going to be scraping back all of those layers. So you can see the colours underneath as well, which is really beautiful. All right, so let's try that. There we go. You can see how much paint I just scraped off of that painting, so much. But yeah, what's beautiful about this is you see the layers underneath, and you can see that the paper's actually absorbed those pigments from the paint that you originally put on. So underneath this whole sea of blue, there's all of these different colors, and there's all of this different stuff happening under the paint, which is really great to notice. So once this dries, you'll have these really interesting big kind of thick boundaries of paint, and then really thin kind of colors in the middle with different textures. So it makes something quite beautiful as well. And there's a lot of meaning you can pull out of this, like thinking about what's under the surface of things, kind of remembering the history of things, or marking moments in time. There's lots of things you can kind of put to this, and you might like to give a title to your work to recognize something that you thought about while you were doing this. So for this next part, I wanted to show you what you can do with these at the end. You can use them as wrapping paper, you can make cards out of them, or you can continue to collage into them, so stick kind of pictures in them or draw on them, and create something completely different and that has a new meaning. So I'm going to show you a few examples of what I've done. So here you can see I actually use some white chalk to draw over my really kind of turquoise lines to accentuate them and to give them a different feel. It's kind of playful. And then this one was where I started to kind of put a few people in there too, which is kind of interesting because they all tell a little bit of a different story. So here we have someone feeling amazing and kind of riding this big wave, and then this person sort of lost her legs. Same with these people down here. So you can do so much with these. So I hope you enjoyed making that with me, and I hope that you find the space and the time to do one of these for yourself, because that experience of pushing the paint around can be really beautiful. All right, thanks for joining me today. Bye.